started.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome you to tonight's featured webinar from Innovative RE Investors. And tonight we're featuring Chris, the Smart Real Estate Coach. I think you're really going to enjoy this. He's got some great training information for you. And at the end of the webinar, you'll be able to ask him questions. Plus, next Tuesday night, we have our specialist call where he'll be able to answer questions on any of your leads and deals and that sort of thing. So I hope you really enjoy this tonight and stay on through the whole thing so that you'll be able to talk to Chris at the end.
Okay, guys, welcome to the webinar, Real Estate on Your Terms, Property from Solving Buyer and Seller Challenges in the Upcoming Market here. And key point, without using your cash or credit. My name is Chris Prefontaine. We operate a family company out of Newport, Rhode Island. We operate our own deals, buying and selling anywhere between 3 to 5 homes a month throughout New England. That's primarily Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut for us. And then we have joint venture partners around the country. Perhaps someday one of those would be you. And they operate the same way with our help, diving in the trenches, actually doing deals with them. So let me just set some ground rules up for you so to what you're going to see. You are going to see clearly why on the screen right there I put without using your cash, and you are going to problems. I'll tell you what you're not going to see, and you're going to see it pretty blunt. So I'm going to lay it out for you as I go through this, and I also will warn you that I do go quickly. It's just my nature, so try to stay with it. You'll get a replay link after this more live webinar, so you can go ahead and replay it. What is this not about? This is not about a push button get rich quick. Sorry to say, it's not a push this button get all the leads you ever need. Push this button, the sales will call you, and the phone will ring off the hook, and you never have to pick up a pencil or work. No, it's not that. It's not, number two, chasing investors for money and begging for that, or using your own money or using banks. It's not that. Look, I got a lot of friends. I got a lot of people on my podcast, smartrealestatecoachpodcast.com, if you haven't been there, who teach how to go ahead and gather investors and buy properties and all that good stuff. And that's great. It's not a model that I choose to participate in. It's a model that I think many people love to do, just not me. So if that's you, I'm not going to teach you how to do that here. I'm also going to, third, not teach you fix and flip. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry with a pickup truck and a hammer is now in the business, and there's TV shows, and so the margins have tightened quite a bit. You're going to see towards the end of my time with you here, which would be better part of 45 to 60 minutes, that you're going to know where to put deals if you get different types of deals come across your plate, but that's not what I'm going to be teaching you. I'm going to be teaching 2 paydays. 3, cash now. A lot of you could get a check in your pocket. This is not a guarantee or a promise. This is telling you what some students do. A lot of you could go out and get a payday, what I call payday number 1 of 3, in your pocket next month. That's not just possible. It's quite probable. We started the business, this very niche of our business, in August of 13 officially, and had a check by September, quite a sizable one. I'll show you the deal in a little bit. So, secondly, just for staying on the webinar till the very end, and I'm going to give you a code word at the end, so I know you did that, but just to stay on to the very end, I'm literally going to give you $1,747 worth of bonuses. Again, at the very end, I'm going to tell you how to get those, how to email, and what keyword to email. But you're going to get a strategy session with me. It's a private session, guys. It's going to be 10 to 20 minutes with me. I'm going to look for a little bit of an overview for you. I'm going to ask you to bring any questions you have from this webinar to that. And then I'm going to give you at least 3 action items that you can leave the webinar with. The call with. 3 of them. So you can go do something. If we never talk again, if you don't buy my home study program, which I suggest you do, if you don't become a joint venture, never talk again. You have 3 things you can go do. It's worth $750 for a 15-minute session. I'll give you 10, 20. If the call's going good, we might take more. You're going to get a thumb drive after we get that email. It's going to have 8 one-hour private joint venture mastermind calls. We meet with our partners every week. Someday, as I said earlier, maybe that'll be you. I give you 8 different sessions on that. We sell that for $9.97. It might be $9.99, but at least $9.97. And we're going to give you that thumb drive. You're going to sit there and you're going to listen kind of behind the scenes to all of the calls that we do with our partners. We'll be joking around, we'll be going over deals, we'll be going over brainstorms, new legal concerns, whatever it might be. You get to peer in on that. It's kind of coming that little thumb drive you see right there sitting beside my book. So think about this for me. Why do people call doctors, attorneys, CPAs, auto bodies? Well, to fix, sell, or create better situations. That's what we're doing. Why do I say that? You are not a salesperson. You are not looking to sell anyone. You are looking for people that you can help. You are looking for people that you can solve challenges. We're going to do that a number of different ways. First, when I talk about challenges, you are going to learn to deal with sellers who are maybe they're an expired listing, meaning they didn't sell on the multiple listing service, or they're a realtor, or they're a for sale by owner. Now, more niching that down to who within those categories. Well, some houses just don't sell for functionality reasons. You got to walk through a bedroom to get to the other bedroom, or some don't sell because of price, and people are stuck on price for a myriad of reasons, not for us to discuss or try to train on now, but it could be they owe too much. It could be they're stuck emotionally on what they put into it and they just can't let go, but they don't owe too much. It's a number of different things. And then just general conditions. So you are going to learn how to navigate through that and how to talk to sellers that are even over leveraged. People say, well, you can buy a house that they owe more than it's worth. We sure can if the terms are right, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So prior to this webinar, perhaps, or prior to my home study course more specifically, you perhaps would get intimidated if the seller called you and said, well, the house is worth $3 and I owe $320. Well, there's a way we can do that, and I'll teach you exactly how to do that in my home study course. A lot of sellers come to us because of divorce or other life events. I'll call them life events, pretty serious stuff that they couldn't avoid unbeknownst to them. It came upon them. Or they have multiple homes. I had a couple in their 70s, a year and a half ago now. They've referred us several homes since then, but they had 3. And so far, 2 of those we've done. Now, they know real estate. They know how to sell conventionally, but they absolutely love the way we do, in this particular case, the lease purchase or the rent-to-own program. Loved it. Even as experienced, 75-year-old investors, we help them liquidate their properties by structuring lease purchase deals. We're now looking at a third with owner financing. So people that have multiple homes is pretty common. How about on the buyer's side? Guys, I can't tell you this is such a healthy environment. I can't tell you how much we enjoy putting these things together, because on the buyer's side, after 2008, some of you were around back then, and some of you weren't, but back then you could walk into a bank and you get what they call the stated income loan if you were self-employed. Now you got an issue of having to prove a 2-year seasoning issue or 2 years of history they want to see. It could be buyers that have a credit challenge, went through a divorce, the other spouse wrecked their credit, bankruptcy, they need 2 years of seasoning there after that takes place, after the discharge. They change the job. Bank needs to see 2 years of seasoning for that. They're fantastic with credit. They're fantastic with their job. They're fantastic with everything, but they got to save more of a deposit. They got money coming in. I'll give you an example. We put a buyer at home recently that has a big sale coming, was able to bring $20,000 to the table for payday 1, which you're going to learn about. If you haven't already, in my Eat That Sandwich ebook or in the bestseller, the Amazon bestseller, Real Estate on Your Terms, that we released not too long ago. Well, this buyer came in and has a sale imminent. There's another $100,000 coming up. And so he put that into his deposit situation, and whereas if he went out to buy a home conventionally, couldn't do that. So these are just different scenarios. Foreclosure, I could go on and on. When I said that I want to show you how to create 3 paydays on this screen here, just to give you an idea, and this was taken about a year ago, I have on here only 2 different things. I have in this column where it says gross spread. I know these numbers are smart to get to my point. I blocked out the properties. I have all the property spreads, and those total around 14 to 18,000. Right now, I think it's closer to 18 or 19, maybe 20,000. Just payday number 2s. That is the difference between you taking in a lease or a rental payment from your tenant buyer and you paying out a mortgage or your seller. That's all that is. And payday 3 would be these full-term profits right here. 14,000, and profits are 1.8 million. See over here? 1.8 million. I think that's more like 2.1 now. Now, at the time of that snapshot, I think that list may have taken 3 years. So picture how cool it would be if you could predictably, and I'm not expecting you to understand this now, but predictably in the next 24 to 36 months, create some what I call payday number threes, which again, if you read the books, you know, and if you didn't, you'll learn soon. Payday number threes that are upwards of $2 million. That's like money in the bank that over the next 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 10 years, you're going to have coming into you. It's pretty cool. Let me give you an example here. This is, who is this? This is Don. Don, you're going to see his name a lot. Don is in Pennsylvania. He's what we call a high six member of our JV program. Wasn't at first. Don's first deal here, not too shabby. It's a free and clear house, 24-month term. That's pretty short term. We purchased this thing in terms for $129,500. We sold it on a lease purchase for $149,500. And here are the paydays, guys, just so you get an idea of where I'm going with these paydays. Payday number one is cash today. This is the one I said, why not next month for you? And what would this do to your finances and your bank account and your families if you could pull this off? $9,500 plus the first 2 months rent. So whatever that comes to, 12, 13, 15,000 plus is his payday number one. His payday number two is the monthly cash flow that I just showed you on the previous screen, where we have about 14 to 18,000 of that coming in every month. Well, this one's $400 a month right there in this one little deal. And then the total payday number three in the back end, you notice is a $20,000 price spread. But you may not have picked up, these are principal only payments, guys. We bought this house. So $24,000 in principal pay down just in the term of the lease. That's if we don't have any extensions or nothing, no hiccups. 66 grand on 3 paydays. You're going to see about the time he did that, we've become more and more profitable at tweaking the profit numbers and eking out more profit. And so we share that with you as students and as our potential partners. Now, let me ask you this. I don't want to scare anyone, but I do want to kind of bring attention to the fact that the market will change. Yes, as at the time of this webinar, the market's decent and it's on an upward trend in most areas, but it will change. I could absolutely read the opening of my book, Real Estate on Your Terms. Go ahead and read that. I won't tell you the whole story now. It'll be 20 minutes, but read the book. If you're old enough to have been around then like me, you'll appreciate it. I was there, and I was there in a big way, and I want you to read that in the book. If you're young and you started 2008 or later, you know, on my Smart Real you'll see a couple of young guys there really kicking butt, and they started after 2008. So fortunately for them, they didn't live through that. But I could say unfortunately, because a lot of lessons were learned during that. And so what I want you to know is the market will change. I want you to be ready for any potential downturn. And this strategy, or these strategies that we teach on how to accumulate any market fluctuations and gather some serious principal pay down and some serious paydays is going to be built in to exactly what I show you. Now, I mentioned those lessons, right? Well, there's also lessons when you talk about mentors. I'm big on mentors. I've had a mentor as far back as I think I can remember. Back in the early 1990s would be the first time. And that would be anytime I wanted to learn anything, do anything physically, whether it be a trainer or whatever, find, seek out, and model and listen to a mentor. Now, we spend a lot, so you don't have to. I don't mean that my stuff is for free, okay? But I do want you to know that we spend, when I say we, it's myself and my wife, my son, Nick, my son-in-law, Zach, and my daughter, Kayla. We spend on personal development constantly. We spend on training and education inside the industry, so you don't have to. You know, back in the 90s, $1,000 a month when I was a realtor, that was heavy stuff back then, especially when I was coming out of a market timing where as a builder in it, I got beat up in that market. Some pretty expensive lessons when I was doing some developing and flipping, very, very expensive. I call those seminars every time I went through them. You guys don't have to go through them all. I'm not saying you won't ever hit a speed bump. You will. And they're actually pretty cool sometimes because you learn valuable lessons and you're much more profitable because of it. But why not take a bunch of lessons that I already learned, speed bumps I hit, times I hit my head, and say, okay, I don't have to do that, and you can go ahead and profit from it. I literally think that my money spent since I put these slides together is 200 grand plus. I spent at least $10,000 on a recent trip with someone you guys will know very, very well, Joe Vitale from The Secret. Spent a better part of an afternoon and night with Joe, and that was money well spent. But I can tell you there were lessons in there that our students will profit from for years and years to come, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. So we bring that back to the table, always looking for ways to make our students and our JV partners more and more profitable. I mentioned the family. There may be, but I don't know of a business that exists right now in the country that I've heard of yet that buys and sells homes every single day in the trenches so that there are real lessons being learned, and then they're also out teaching, teaming up, locking arms with, and doing deals with partners. I don't know of that, and that's what we have here, just so you understand what goes on behind the scenes here. And eventually, if you decide to become a JV partner, who you'll have access to and how cool that is. Just picture that. Picture no matter what facet of your business you're challenged with or need work with or need help with on a phone call, one of the people in our team, depending on which specialty you're talking about, will be helping you do that. So what options are there for you technically to go ahead and launch a business? Well, before we even talk about that and some of the bullet points there, let me just say this. I can tell you guys on a weekly basis that I get emails and phone calls from some of these strategy calls where people say, you know, I spent all kinds of money on programs and they didn't work for me. To that, I always answer, well, why'd you stick around with it? Why don't you just give it back? Get your money back. We're all about doing deals. If you're talking to someone, I don't care if it's real estate or selling popcorn on the street corner or financial planning, whatever it might be, if they're not doing what you're looking to do, what the heck are you buying their stuff for? And I hate to poo-poo on other people's ideas, but there's no reason to be doing that. And so we're all about what works, guys. In fact, if you dig deeper into the testimonial screen, I'm going to skip some of them on this webinar today so you don't waste time, but you look at Don Strickland, if you look at Sergio Ortega, go ahead and check out their testimonials. They're real deals. And those guys are both people that spent, and I'd say lost, but it's not really lost, it's education, lots of money, tens of thousands before meeting us and now doing actual deals. So what are some options for you? I want to make sure you read the book, Eat That Sandwich. I don't need to, or you don't need to, make sure that you read Real Estate on Your Terms. It's featured right there. It's an Amazon bestseller in June of 2017, but I don't want you to say, well, look, I'll read the book, I'll blow 30 days doing that, or if you're a fast reader, maybe a weekend, but don't think that's a necessity. It's a support to everything I'm talking about here, and obviously what's in the Quantum Leap System home video, home study course. The membership's pretty key. It's going to give you all kinds of lessons. I'm going to break that down for you at the end of this webinar, but I'll tell you that the home study course and the membership together are the best support system you could possibly do. There's group coaching and mastermind, but hey, just for sticking around on this call right here, I'm going to show you how to get 8 mastermind calls. So that's for free for you. And then I mentioned JV partnerships a lot because it's a lot of what we do. It's helping JV partners do deals. And so this works everywhere, guys. What I'm going to be talking to you about here and zipping through this with you, it works everywhere. Of course, there's nuances in different states. For example, North Carolina, there's a few things. Texas is a whole bunch of things. So we have a Texas specialist when we bring partners on in Texas. And frankly, right here in Rhode Island, there are issues with trust, and I won't get into this now. It's not an entity planning session, but there's all kinds of little nuances in each state. You'll find out about them, and we know about some of them, but we're certainly not attorneys. But this does work everywhere. I will tell you that overall, just kind of 10,000-foot view, I want you to picture this. I want you to picture a predictable keyword system for you to bring in leads and then drive those leads to websites if it's what we have you set up, phone lines, virtual assistants. This is not, I said some things this is not about. This is not about you spending all kinds, tens of thousands or even hundreds on mailers. This is not about that. There's too much, it's not predictable enough for me. So you're not going to hear about that. Just picture this. Picture this. You wake up, you're going to get X amount of leads in that day, in that week. You're going to know exactly what to say to them, and you're going to get contracts signed, and then we're going to teach you how to sell the homes. That predictable. So on the screen, by the way, let me just mention that there is another free book you can get. It's just a tiny book. It's just a report, actually. It's called Gather Your Nuts. And it's on generation, kind of step by step on exactly what we do to generate leads. You can read it. You're going to be in a better frame of mind if you read that quick report. It's on smartrealestatecoach.com. You'll be in a better frame of mind and be able to digest the other things you'll learn if you go through that. So again, not a necessity before you do anything, but do it simultaneous to some of your learning and some of you who choose to do the home study course. So just for a visual for you, you're going to get those leads through the system. You're going to get those through expired listings, for sale by owner, other sources which you're going to learn about in that Gather Your Nuts there. We're going to provide different resources, different tools, different vendors for you to convert that and access those, and then how to get those contracts and how to get check in hand, obviously. So that's just the visual for you. All of these resources here, the ones that have an asterisk by them are where we get the majority of our business. But what you're going to learn from our system is I don't want you getting up any one morning having a change in the market, a changing on rules of for sale by owners or expired listings, and I'm thinking that one of those variables that are feeding you leads no longer can do its job, and then you're out of business. So I want to make sure you have different lead sources coming in from different areas so you constantly have that predictable business. Now, when I say predictability over and over again, how about you get to know your own numbers, but until then you borrow hours. You know, if you know those numbers, what numbers I'm talking about would be on the next slide I'm going to show you, but things like, you know, how many leads are they going to take? They give me a check. How many appointments I got to go on? You know, you're going to know that specific. So then we just do this. We just set your goals, and I can do some of this on the strategy call with you. We back out those numbers that we know are required, and now we know the necessary money-producing activities that are going to be necessary to hit those numbers. This is all about math, guys, and then we put it into play. How many leads are you going to need weekly to accomplish your personal goals? How many appointments do you need to go on monthly to accomplish your goals? See, these numbers are numbers we go over as a family team every single Tuesday for the prior week to see if we're on or off track. Why is that? And why do I want you to do that? Because if you do that, you can never get off track. Think about this for a second. If I stop the webinar here tonight, how many could say, if I have this predictable plan, so it's if A then B, if B then C, it's that predictable, it's not vague or ambiguous, then all you got to do is then go put it into action with our help, telling you what action to take. Now, I know that sounds simple, but that's it. Now, you bump your head along the way and have bopping and weaving, and some of you do a deal in 30 days, and some of you do a deal in 6 months. Sure. I think it took Sergio 6 months. I think it took Don 6 months. I think Sean from the police officer from PA did it in 30 days. Some of it's luck. You're going to do the same activities. Some of it's market. How many contracts monthly will you need to go ahead and convert to sales, and how many sales monthly given the profitability? Let me give you an example. If your income goal was $250,000, our average payday number one right now you're going to see is a little bit higher than 28 grand. It used to be as low as 10. Let's just use a round number of 20. I'm not counting the cash flow on payday 2. I'm not counting the cash out on payday 3. I'm just counting payday 1. So I'd say to you, okay, you need 12 or 13 deals because I'm talking about now money for the next 12 months. And I don't want you to rely on the little spreads. So I kind of create a nice little reserve for you. Number of deals, 25 then. Number of leads per year needed, 312. How many leads do we need to get you per week? 8 to 10. Guess what, coincidentally? That's real dead set to most of the partners on what they go for. Okay? Now, everyone differs, but I'm going to tell you that Don and Sergio, now that they've gone through their first 6 to 12 months of learning curve, both have businesses with all 3 paydays that will produce $500,000 plus a year. Now, how cool would that be for you? What if it took you a year? Well, let me be obnoxiously conservative. What if that took you 36 months to develop that business? It won't, unless you disappear on me. But what if it took you 36 months and you had a business that created all kinds of those paydays, like I showed you on the chat earlier? You know, $2 million or 10 grand or so on your monthly spreads every month, predictably, and then these kind of paydays here at anywhere between 15 and 30 grand for payday number 1. That's pretty cool. Just picture how that would change things in your world and how predictable it is. And please remember the opening slide. That's without going begging and borrowing and doing all that stuff. This is you learning a system that works and works for us every single day, every single month. Now, what does it mean when I say I want a transaction engineer? Well, I want you to know all the exits. I want you to get a deal in the door, whether I'm helping you or not, and then say, I know what the best exit is here. You know, if I do A, B, and C, I can get D. And that includes things like you understanding exactly what to say with the right scripts. That means you getting on and listening to all our calls in the membership area. I'm talking live calls, live seller calls, good, bad, and otherwise. We put them up there for you to listen to. Watching our deal structures so you can really, in our lessons learned, so you can know all the nuances of how to structure a deal, how to exit a deal. What if you get a speed bump? Look, guys, I mean, in real estate on your terms and on our membership area, I have plenty of videos in a whole chapter that's called What Can Go Wrong? Why is that? You're going to find that we're pretty blunt. We're going to tell you all those things up front, not bring it through a seminar and get you all excited and then have you go home and realize, oh, there are speed bumps in this business. Of course there are. Too many seminars, colored glasses, and things happen. So we're going to hopefully help you avoid a lot of those. Now, if you're a JV partner, I keep referring to this, our team are going to do calls with you and for you. So you are going to, again, avoid a lot more of those, but you're still going to hit them. It's just life. Now, talk a lot about the partners. I put them on a pedestal. They should be. They're doing fantastic. I'm proud of them. But there are people that just joined membership, like Laurie here in Rhode Island. I met her once when she called about her house. I went over and talked to her. And instead of doing the deal with her as an investor, I said, you know what, you could probably do this on your own. Check out my membership site. You know, because she said she wanted to learn how to do real estate. Not that I wanted to give away a deal, but here she is pulling in all three profit centers of over 80 grand just by going through the Quantum Leap System home study course, which I keep mentioning, and joining membership. And that's a note from her directly. I hope you can see her at one of our upcoming events and talk to her. Now, I hope Laurie's watching this because not to water down what she did, but she'd probably be 10 times wherever she's at now if she's a partner. But again, we'll talk to her at one of the upcoming events, hopefully, you and I both. So I talked about earlier, I said knowing all the exits. I call them buckets sometimes. And just to give you some lingo, if you haven't gone through the ebook or the Real Estate on Your Terms book, the AO stands for assign out, and sandwich leases, SW, and owner financing, and subject to the existing mortgage, and wholesale deals and retail deals. And these are all deals that in the Quantum Leap Systems course, we're going to walk through the proper vocabulary so you understand it, but also how to use each one of those, how to utilize each one of those to fit it to a particular deal. And just, again, as a transaction engineer that I alluded to in the past slide, picture knowing clearly how to exit everything, confidence to go ahead and pull the trigger on that. It's pretty cool. And now people say to me, all right, you teach me how to get these homes, Chris, but my biggest fear, and I'll tell you guys, I remember asking my coach this in 2013, okay, I got my first home, now what the heck do I do? Well, we're going to talk about how to get them sold. We're going to talk to you about how to process the buyer calls with properly pre-written for you emails from the opt-in. We're going to talk to you about the scripts that you can leave on your voicemail and your voice broadcast system, how to get that word out to your list eventually with, again, pre-written emails. We're going to show you how to use our done-for-you educational videos that are for the buyer Q&A section and the seller Q&A sections too, by the way, for your site, for your website. If you decide to do that and you decide to go to the done-for-you videos and the done-for-you site. Talk about how to set up viewings and you not going ever. You will never show a home unless you are just dead set not going to want to listen to me, do you? And you like to go show homes, but I don't show homes. No one on our team shows homes. And then once they fill out what we call a next step form, which is what you're going to have access to in the membership area if you want to do that, then after the buyer goes through all of that pre-screening, that funnel, so to speak, then you jump in. So you notice you're not wasting any time until you know someone's ready to roll. We're going to also talk about, as far as getting homes sold, how to conduct a proper buyer meeting with your buyer sitting in front of you, how to properly pre-screen them before and after that meeting so you don't have any headaches, how to use the proper buyer letter of intent and other important checklists. You notice checklist is spelled incorrectly, and so you don't have to be Einstein or know how to spell to get this done, but other checklists so that you use the right forms, the right checklists, and you're protected. And that's all been done from doing hundreds of deals, hitting some speed bumps, and then correcting things as we go. And then, of course, having your attorney take care of the signing for that buyer, which I'll explain to you when we get into more depth, and collect your check number one, your payday number one that we keep talking about that averages around between $15,000 and $30,000 per payday. For you, again, if it's next month or 6 months from now, who cares, as long as you set the right foundation for that to go ahead and replicate itself over and over and over again. I told you I don't want to dwell on testimonials because I can load you up. But what to do instead? You can certainly read this one. I'm not going to say to read it to you. But what I'd like you to do instead is just simply go to the website, smartrealestatecoach.com. Check out the different testimonials and reviews we have on there. I mentioned Sergio and Don earlier. Sergio's just cranking. I don't know what deal this was for him, but if you look at all three paydays here, that's a $50,000 deal. He's done one deal alone that was a simple assignment that I think netted us 52 grand. That was back in February, as at the time of this. What are we on here? Whatever month we are in 17. You're talking about deals that are going from 50 to 85 grand a piece on paydays 1, 2, and 3. And by the way, guys, you can speak to these guys. I want you to. I want you to jump on the phone with Sergio. I want you to jump on the phone with Don. Once you and I have a meaningful conversation, I know that would best serve you. I want to get you on the phone with them. I said that I would show you our averages. I don't want you to get too caught up in 14, 15, 16. But in 17, this is even outdated. Payday number one right now for our, and also called out payday one on all deals, is around 28,000, but as of this, it's 20,800. Our all three paydays as of the time of this filming, this webinar was 75,000. It's upwards of 86,000. It ranges. You'll see the different testimonials on the site, but it ranges from say 50, like you just saw Sergio's deal, all the way up to 86 grand. Heck, we've had some over 100, but that's not the norm. I don't want to paint this grand picture for you. The average is a little bit lower than that. And then the average monthly spread might be a little lower than this now. I think, frankly, these two, paydays 1 and 2, are important to us, and payday 3, the spread. We want to maintain, $50 if you're getting enough payday 1 and 3. And so it just depends, but our average right now is in the threes. Okay, it might be a little lower right now. I think it's 315 or something. As of right now, we track this, as I said, every single week and every single month. So just to get you thinking a little bit about what these three paydays can do for you and how we've grown over the years with those, as you can see. Why is that important to you? It's not bragging. It's basically saying, look, we've come up with the systems that work and then how to eke out as much profit as possible out of every single deal. And I guess my question would be, why not? Let me show you a couple of deals from a time standpoint here. I'm not going to go too crazy on these, but I do want to show you a couple of deals so you understand exactly what they look like. For example, this was one of my first deals back in, I think it started in 13, and it was a simple 2-bedroom home. The present mortgage at that time was $167,000, and that was the payment on 11/26. It wasn't expired, so it didn't sell in the 180s. The value was about there, so that's actually pushing a little bit at that time, 190. My exit strategy at that time was, oh man, we don't have for a 3-year lease. We actually did sell it. $9,000 deposit was payday 1. The split between 219 and 167 is 52 grand on the back end, less than 9 grand we already took, right? Payday 1. And then the nice little spread on the monthly for a whopping $324. But remember, that's every single month. And then a $400 per month principal pay down. Of course, that grows every month with the bank. Now, let me fast forward you. I told you stuff happens on deals, right? Our philosophy, many investors will disagree with this, and you can do your own research and you will find this to be true. Many will pray and hope that their buyer does not cash them out. You will see, you will experience that our model is completely different. It is that we want, in the ideal world, 100% of our buyers to cash us out. Our pre-screening, our mortgage readiness, our credit enhancement company, everything about our system, from paperwork to checklist to communication, is, look, buyer A and B, we want you to cash out. We want to get you to the finish line. We're not putting you in the home unless we can prove, and you can prove that you can do that. Now, having said that, do life events happen? Yes. This deal, coincidentally, most recently, I'll bring you up to date, in 18 months, the seller left the state and had a pre-natural wanted her name off the deed. Loan still in her name, but I said, sure. I sent her a check for, I think it was a couple grand. She needed money very badly. So we sent her a couple grand, and she deeded the home over to us, subject to the existing mortgage, staying in her name. That was at the 18-month point. So let's say that was 13, 14, somewhere in the beginning of 15, I'm guessing. Fast forward now, the couple in the home, talk about life events, 2 in one house. The couple in the home separated. The gentleman is still in the home. His father has helped him fix it up. They probably spent 30 grand on the home. If you look at the new evaluation on it, it's gone up to, as of today, around 250,000. If you look on the debt owed on that bank, it's around 150,000. So right this very second, on that one little 2-bedroom house we did, by taking up payments over on a 167 mortgage. By the way, you wouldn't take it over until you get your buyer, so don't get nervous. But that one little house is sitting there right now with $100 equity on it. The buyer in there is on a month-to-month now because he's gone way past his date. He pays like clockwork, so I leave him in there. And until he calls me and says he wants out or he's going to move, I'm not going to do anything with it. But could I, because I'm back in the driver's seat, notify him that he should leave in 30 days? He's well past his agreement, and I could sell him the open market and pocket the 100 grand. Yes, I could. I'm going to leave him in there. He's a great guy. Remember, our goal is to get these people to the finish line. But what a cool deal. When a problem happens, do you know how to exit it even better? Sure, you're going to know how to exit it even better. Maybe you don't now. Let me show you another one, and then I think instead of going crazy, I'll actually, This one here I'm going to skip over. It's a 3-bedroom ranch. It's one of the first deals we did, but this was an AO deal, an assigned out deal that we did not stay in. Unlike today's deals, we were splitting payday 1 with the seller. And on this one, just to make a long story short, as you can see with an asterisk there, 3/4 of the way down, we got $11,750 payday because there's a total of 23. So it was Tickle Pink. I can tell you this gentleman, this Mason that bought this home, already cashed it out. So he's Tickle Pink. He wasn't able to get a loan back when he started the process with us. And the seller's Tickle Pink. We got him all the money. And this source is a free and clear yellow letter. We mail. I told you we don't go crazy with mailings. We do very pointed mailings when we want to increase lead flow, and that was only after we have cash flow. And you won't do that until you're ready to do that. Okay. So what's the lesson on that one? Keep more of the deposit. There's many lessons that we've used to, again, increase things. But we don't give away 50% anymore. We give away 33% at most. I think one of Don's recent deals, he gave away only 25% of that payday 1. Pretty cool. This is a 2-family deal. It was a sandwich again, so I'm not going to go through this and bore you, but people say to me all the time, why would people do these deals? Well, everyone's different, right? This is a gentleman who's an accountant. Him and his dad were getting behind on payments. They were stressed out about absolute tenants from you know where who would take advantage of them, and he just wanted us to take over. So we did. Because he owed about what it was worth at the time, we put it on a very long-term lease purchase. I don't know if it's in here. Yeah, I think it's 72 months we put it on. So I don't know how far into that we are right now. I want to say we're about 48 months into it. We've got a nice little spread there, as you can see. Took a nice deposit. Payday 1, payday 2 is $700, way above average. So this is a good one for you to see. And the payoff in 72 months is only $135. Guys, do the math on this. $225 is a sandwich, meaning the mortgage stays in the seller's name. We take over the payments. We lease purchase it out to a buyer, rent it out to a buyer. The spread is $700. The principal pay down every single month is pretty big now on that mortgage. And at the very end, on a simple house where we took over mortgage for $169, we have $140,000 with the 3 paydays. Now that's pretty cool. And again, I'm just skipping through these. You can learn these on the membership site where I get a whiteboard and I walk you through these step by step. I just want you to get a taste for the numbers, and as well as the mix of properties you can do. Here's a 4-unit that we still own. It's in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. It was owner finance. This is a professor retiring. Just wanted to know that it was going to be taken care of, and he had some income coming in. We purchased it for $259. Owner financing. The owner paid the closing costs. We put $5,000 down, but when you time these, another whole lesson I won't get into now, but we time these multis to half. The rent that day, but typically you can actually walk away with a check. We pay this guy $1,023. Let's say $10,000. $1,023 per month. We pay it at principal only, no interest on that. It's pounding down. It's a great hedge against the economy. $735 per month is our net operating income. We don't touch this property. It's run by a management company, and we have laundry income coming in on that. So it's about $735, about $785 per month. Cash flow net after paying a manager and all the bills. Exit strategy. We actually are growing to really like this property. We may keep it, and that would take going against the rules and doing a refinance or getting private money. But as of now, that was not the plan. It's never the plan going in. You want to make sure you don't need that stuff I told you about at the beginning. It's a 48-month pay down, and then at the very end, we either sell it or, as I said, do something creative with it. But we've got 2 things happening. If the principal pay down is $1,023 a month after 48 months, we got $50,000 sitting there. If the market does nothing, and if we don't improve the net operating income, which drives multis, well, we did, and we will continue to. And so there's going to be a nice appreciation. I don't know. I would suspect that we'll sell it somewhere around $280. I'm thinking already today, if I stopped and did it, it'd be $300. But look at the paydays there. So at the end, I'm going to owe $210. If we sell for $280, not $300, it's $69,000. You add that $735 a month. Some months is as high as $1,200, guys, but our budget is $735 a month net. That's a total of, again, a 6-figure payday on a $260 house. Why? How can that be? People always ask me that when they see it on the surface. Because it's the benefit of principal pay down that you are getting. The next one is single family, the same thing. I don't want to go through this just from a time standpoint. I don't want to kill you today with time. But this was a single family. Just look at the summary here. We purchased this thing with no money down. It might have been 1 month or whatever it was. Yeah, went $900 down, $183.9 for a 48-month term with $923 monthly interest monthly principal only payments. We leased the thing out for $1,500. The 3 paydays are approximately 128 or 133, I think it's higher, but on there it says 128 grand. That's pretty cool. We got 12 to 15 payday 1, 577 a month payday 2. Then the back end is the principal pay down and the spread between the 183 and the 220. Again, if any of these buyers go late, guys, if they can't get financing on them before the date, you can honor the price or you can up it if it went up. I know that one went way up, so that buyer would highly likely cash this baby out. So I'm going to move on. I just want to show you different types of homes, different types of buckets or exits. But the bottom line is this. In those 5 deals I just showed you, there's just under $500,000 in profits now and in the future, so all 3 paydays. How many of these do you really need to replace your job at an average of 88 grand each? Now, I don't want to take all the thunder away from the upcoming event, but I want you to come. I want you to hear from Sergio, who had 3 jobs, now is down to 1 and is by choice keeping some hours on that, but has with these 3 paydays. And I want you to hear from Don, the engineer, that makes a healthy, I won't tell you what he makes, because that's his business, but it's healthy 6 figures and has benefits, and his exit plan's coming up here in about 4 months. That's pretty cool. So come see these guys, come learn how they do it, and come learn, more importantly, how you can do it. And this is not a pitch about the event. You're not going to say anything about the event on here. I just wanted to tell you that as I came across that and thought of Don and Sergio again. Now, they all smooth deals as I get into the last segment of this. No, they're not. I won't go through each here with you, but just know that as we go through headaches, what do? We go back to the drawing board on our Tuesday meeting. We tweak systems, we tweak checklists, and we tweak things with the attorney so that your agreements and everything match and they protect you the best they can and they eke out the most profit. So we have things like in the buyer letter of intent now, we have inspection waivers. We never used to even bring it up. We had a lead paint issue about a year and a half ago that cost us $32,000. And you might say, well, how do you pay for that if you're not using your own cash or credit? I'm going to show you how to set up credit lines, business credit lines, and not in your personal name at 0% interest for your first year, so you don't have to worry about that. By the way, one of the ladies that does that, we had our event, side note on the event. We have a new system for walkthroughs and buyers. We have a new system for the assign out deals, so the seller backs out. It's covered in the letter of intent and how we do that. And on with the other forms. When people have not enough down, I can tell you that's a headache waiting to happen, just like that guy's holding his head on the screen there. So there are all kinds of lessons, not pre-screening the buyer well enough, on and on and on. We've learned that we're going to help you avoid, real simply put. So people call me and say, look, I'm doing these deals, and when I get one deal done, I'm going to go ahead and do your home study course. I'm going to become a partner, or I'm going to come to the event then. I say, okay, but look, you can lose a lot more money than you're going to pay for any of that by making an error. I told you guys at the beginning that one of the things I'm going to offer you is a strategy call. So there's, I don't know, on this webinar here, just under. So I'm not going to do a live Q&A, but what I want you to do is write down the questions. And when I give you that code word at the end to get your free strategy call and free thumb drive with the 8 mastermind calls on it, I want you to go ahead and jot down your private questions, and I'll answer those for you at the very end. Now, I'm not here to teach you script today, but what I do want you to know is a lot of people, when they hear about our stuff or they read Real Estate on Your Terms, they do ask a whole bunch of questions, or the buyers or the sellers ask a whole bunch of questions about the same process. So I'm going to zip through a few with you, but just know that you will know these or will be on the phone with you if you're a JV partner. But you will be comfortable so that any question that gets thrown at you, you'll be able to answer. In fact, you're excited for them to ask it because you know, they don't, but you know that they're all the exact same ones that come up over and over and over again. So from buyers, a lot of the sellers are saying the buyer front, will I find buyers if I get properties? Guys, the buyers are the easiest thing to find, depending on what market you're in, depending on what statistic you want to look at. Let me just tell you reality. Reality is about 60 to 85% of the market can't get a loan right now. It's tougher. I can tell you right now because I personally went through it recently for the first time since 2008, and I couldn't believe the hoops I had to jump through. So it's tougher. You will find buyers when you're selling on term, rent to own, or anything else that we teach. How do we know they can cash out? I talked about this earlier. You're going to put them through our system of pre-screening and pre-qualifying, so you set them up to succeed with a given mortgage date, a mortgage-ready date on or before a certain date. The default reasons and different percentages of default reasons are simple. If a buyer has a life event, like I talked about, I'm sharing it with you openly in this webinar, then that's a default. I mean, they're going to have, we had a buyer recently saw off his fingers at work. Well, that's a problem. He's out of work, so that's a life event, a divorce, a death, etc. What if they blame me and want the deposit back? The deposit's non-refundable, and everything about what you do goes with your attorney is going to protect you. So there's no blaming you. You're going to love the contracts and the checklists that we have to protect you. Can I just do the lease purchase forms with them? I get asked this all the time. Why don't I need to have my buyers go sit with an attorney? You do whatever you want. You're not required by law in any state that I know of right now to have an attorney, quote unquote, close a lease purchase. But you're going to if you follow our system so that you're protected. It's just another layer that you'll learn about. How quickly can you get buyers in a home? If the home is empty, that you're contracting to take over or to buy, you can get them in there. When a buyer asks that, you can get them in there in anywhere between 3 and 7 days. Literally, the system is that simple and that quick for pre-qualifying. Again, if for logistic reasons you need more time, you get more time. Not a big deal. Now, if you cannot, let me just say this before I answer the seller questions here. If you cannot answer confidently with a seller, a buyer, maybe you got some play and you got many more calling you. But if you cannot answer questions with a seller confidently, they're gone. I will tell you that they're gone and you're going to lose the deal. And so we're going to help you position yourself to know that best. How soon can you act? Again, it's common questions like sellers ask. How soon can you act? Can you act immediately? I'm going to show you guys how you can confidently tell a seller you can act immediately, depending on what kind of bucket you're putting them in, the different types of deals. Credit, you don't need credit at all. You're not buying the house in most cases. If it's known a financing deal, it's a different issue. There's some credibility issues that you can lean on us for if you're a joint venture partner, but you're not credit. You're going to explain that to the seller. Someone might ask you what if they trash the house. You're going to learn how to answer that, but one of the answers is, look, you described a tenant, Mr. Seller, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. We're not talking about tenants here. We're talking about buyers. However, if they do trash the house and we're doing a sandwich lease, that's my problem, not yours, Mr. Seller. What if they back out? Again, same answer. If I'm in a sandwich lease or on a financing deal and they back out, that's my problem, not yours, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. These questions, guys, and these things that come up, again, from a legal standpoint, you're very well protected when you're doing it the right way. What forms and agreements do you use then from a legal standpoint? Every single form, every single checklist that we use is in our document library on the membership website. You will train your attorney ahead of time and you'll get them the forms so they can look at them in your state. I can tell you that most states that you are probably going to throw at us, I won't say most, a large majority of states that you can throw at us have already been vetted for our agreements, but it's no big deal. And if you're a JV partner, I'm actually going to get on the phone, one of the team members will here, and talk to your attorney with you or for you. We do a lot of that. Sometimes we can even refer them from ours. Now, what if it doesn't fit? I refer to a bunch of times knowing where it fits. What if it doesn't fit in some of the buckets that I talked about? There are many more, guys. I showed you multifamilies. There's a land course that I offer for just a few $100 because you are going to run into land on accident. You're in the real estate business. Know how to deal with that. Other exits would be simple real estate options that have been around for decades and decades before you and I. Rehab, perhaps, if that's what you want to do. We've done hundreds of them. We can show you how to do them. It's just not what I focus on. And then, of course, wholesaling. In our business plan every year, we make room for one rehab and a couple wholesales. It's just nature of the beast. You're going to come across different deals, and the whole point is knowing what to do with that deal and how to profit most efficiently and effectively. So, what's next for you as I wrap up here and I give you your code to go ahead and get your free gifts over $1,800 or just under $1,800? Well, you can do nothing, obviously, or and I hope you enjoyed the time with me and I didn't go too fast for you, or you can jump on the train with us. I mean, when I say jump on the train with us, guys, I alluded to that person who had the membership access and that's it, and how they probably would have 10 times the earnings if they were with us. I don't know if you can quantify those numbers, but I will tell you that if you're on the train with us, you're going to go a lot more quickly. And I would strongly suggest that you go ahead and jump on the home study course. But before I say that, let me say this. Please don't do this. Please don't do nothing and then catch yourself saying later, I should have done that. Or, you know what, when Chris offered that special, I could have done this. And on and on and on you go. And then I love what Tony Robbins says. Don't should, S-H-O-U-L-D, as you see on the screen, all over yourself for a lifetime. And I should have done that when. I should have tried this when. I should have done this when the market was different. On and on and on. Don't do that. In 2013, when I had some decisions to make after coming out of the 2008 debacle, I could have stayed in the fetal position, done nothing. but I decided, I found mentors, I created payday number 3s of over $2 million, and now have a business that the family and I enjoy very much so, and we enjoy working together every day, and we enjoy working with you. And so you can have that similar result. And I don't want to paint a picture that all these deals are going to be perfect, guys. Your results are going to vary, obviously, with your discipline, your work habits, your willingness to go to work, your market, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I'm going to help you fit a plan that works with that. But don't think that your market is different in that you can't do these deals. You can in every state in the country right now that I'm aware of, and no exceptions. Now, what I say a million times in this webinar, not quite a million, but I said a lot. There's a Quantum Leap System home study course. If you go to our website right now, it's $697, or because you need, in my opinion, the membership access, and I'm going to talk to you about what's in there. The yearly membership is something like $497, or you can pay $47 a month, which is even more expensive. But using that yearly discounted rate, you're still going to pay $11.94 for that package. Here's what we're doing for the webinar. The JV Mastermind bonus I told you for the thumb drive is over $997. That's a $21.91 in value. That doesn't count the free strategy call for $750. So you talk about $2,700 in value. I want to give you that as a webinar participant for $897. That's it, $897. So you're saving $12.94 plus the free strategy call, $750. Now, what is in the home study course I alluded to over and over and over? All the numbers required to accomplish your goals, all the systems, vendors, everything to run your transaction machine. I get all the time questions about, well, will you give me your contacts? Will you tell me where you get your leads? Will you give me your VA? Some of my JVs have the same VA I do. You're going to become that transactioneer that I talked about, who can predictably do 1+ deal a month. You want to do 2 a month like Don and Sergio? It's quite profitable. You talk about 3 paydays at 70 or 80 grand. Even if it was 50, you'd be okay with that. You'd do quite well. But you can ramp that up 1, 4, 2, 3, however many deals you want. All the necessary support in the team systems as you ramp up. Accountability throughout the course and ongoing if you desire it. And lots of free equity. That's the bottom line. And those awesome principal pay down benefits I talked about over the course of owning the property or controlling the property, and ultimately cashing out. Now, on the membership area that I talked about, instead of $497, you're getting that whole package with the course for $897. You're going to get all the audio calls I alluded to with the buyers and the sellers. So you're going to sit there and you're going to listen to my son Nick talk to buyers. You're going to listen to my son-in-law Zach and I talk to sellers, real live calls. Not all of the nice and friendly ones, but all of them. Live deal structuring on the whiteboard so you understand how to do it. You see them over and over and over again, like we're going to do at our upcoming event. And you get real proficient at them when you see that so many times. Weekly lessons that we get in the field, so you can go ahead and learn from those. Email support. As a member, you do get email support. You can send me over a property information sheet. One of myself or the kids will answer you and say, here's how you structure that deal. Conference calls, 10% discount as a member on most of the stuff that we put out. And as I said to you earlier, all the documents so that you have that at your fingertips and know how to use which documents for which deal. So here's the bonus, guys. I talked about at the beginning about having that strategy session and those mastermind calls. All you got to do is send an email right now. You don't have to buy the program I just talked to you about. I encourage you to do that. But if we never talk again, I never see you again or hear from you again, email Lauren@smartrealestatecoach.com. The keyword in the subject line, CP bonus, all caps. You do that. Lauren is going to ask you for some information, obviously, i.e. shipping. We'll pay for the shipping. She just needs where to go with the shipping. And you're going to go ahead and be able to a link to schedule a free strategy session, as well as in the mail the thumb drive with the 8 hours plus of mastermind calls on it. So do this, guys. Well, let me go back one more time, actually. So you're going to email, please write this down, Lauren@smartrealestatecoach.com, the keyword CP bonus in capital letters in the subject line. And so here's your simple choice. You can go ahead and jump on the website. Anyone can. No special. $697. You can jump on the website. You can buy membership for $47 a month. Soon to be increased. Maybe if you end up watching this on a replay, not live, it might be increased. But $497. Or you can take that whole package, the membership, the home study course, and pay for it now at $897. You have some payment options there. I just think back to when I got started, and I had been beat up pretty badly, and I wanted the training, and I needed a way to finance it. And so you can do 2 payments of $475 or 3. $7. I'm sorry, I can't go up further than that. You'll be well done the course and probably have deals in your lap by then. But that's real simple, made easy for you. It's a little bit more expensive because we're not a bank, But those are your options, guys. I hope you enjoyed your time here today. I certainly did. I encourage you to go ahead and grab the home study course and the membership package. And I very much look forward to chatting with you, brainstorming with you, hearing about your situation and how we can help on your live strategy call. Make it a great day.
Well, I'm glad you guys were all on here today. And I'm now going to open it up for Chris.